Hello, I'm USA Today Bestselling Author, storyteller, and cheeky wench, Susan Tisdale. I've been writing since I was a little girl and published my first novel in December of 2011. Since then, I've sold more than 750,000 copies of my books around the world, and I've hit the USA Today bestsellers list twice. I'm here to share tips, tricks, and advice on writing, cover art, and indie publishing in general. So grab your favorite beverage, pen and paper, and gird your loins, babies. This could get a little bumpy. Hello, 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 hello. How is everyone? Well, good, Brett. How is everyone? Don't forget to hit that like button on your way in. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to share. Hi, Amy. Hi, Angie. Hi, Aurora. How is everyone? Ari Laurel. Angie G. I hope everyone had a good day. Hi, Holly. How was the weather where you are today? We hit a high of 62. And yes, I was still cold. Hi, Tara. Happy Wednesday, everyone. You're cold, Jenny? Yeah, I'm cold all the time now. I'm just cold. Ignore my hair, okay? Hi, Bobby. It's been a day. It's just been a day, okay? I ran out of coffee, out of decaf. I ran out of mousse, so my hair is so flat. There's like no oomph. And I started a new medicine today that I'm not sure how I feel about yet. Yeah, Bobby, I ran out of decaf, and I think I'm going through I don't know what, but because we can no longer get Adderall because of a nationwide shortage, I'm on a new medication that I started today. And I took a 2-hour nap this afternoon. So I'm waiting for Chasity. Whoops, for Chasity. She should be here pretty soon. Oh, wait. Okay. She should be here any minute. Yay, there's Chasity. Hi, darling. How are you? How is that beautiful baby of yours? Okay, I'm copying a link and I'm putting it in chat because I still haven't figured out how to add a guest yet. And only Chasity is allowed to click on this, okay? So that link is for Chasity only. Oh, good. He's so adorable. Oh, my stars. You people, if you do not follow Chasity, let me go get her Facebook link. I know I have it in the description of the book. Hang on a moment. Uno momento. This is, am I prepared? As always. Okay. I think this is the right link. Bum, 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 bum. I think this is the right link. I really hope this is the right link. There she is. Hi, beautiful. How are you?
I'm good.
I really hope
Hang on a
this is
second.
the right link. There. If you have, do you have earbuds or a headphone or anything?
I turned off the
Except-
volume on YouTube.
Okay.
So.
All right. So how are you, beautiful?
I'm good. It's been a long day.
Let me tell you, I agree. I was just telling our guests, I ran out of coffee. I have not had a cup of coffee all day. I ran out of decaf. I had to switch to decaf, right? Because of the meds. And I ran out of mousse. I had no mousse left, not even a little dibble dabble. And so my hair is really flat. But I love your haircut.
That's pretty much how we live now. There's no life, no nothing.
Welcome to motherhood. Oh
So,
my goodness. So if as we go along through the night, if anybody has any questions for Chastity, please feel free to put them in the chat and we will answer them. So why don't you, would you want me to read your author bio for you or would you like to read it yourself?
I'll let you because I hate reading my
Okay.
author bio.
Okay. All right. I'm going to go grab it here. Ba-dum-bum-bum. Okay. USA Today bestseller, winner of the 2019 Romance Through the Ages Award for Georgian Regency Romance, 2020 RONE Award winner, 2021 RONE Award winner, 2021 Raven Award winner, and 2021 Imadjinn Award for Best Romance Novel. Chasity Bowlin is the author of multiple best-selling historical romance novels, both independently and with Dragonblade Publishing. She lives in central Kentucky with her husband, their adorable son, and he is so cute, and a menagerie of animals. She loves writing, loves traveling, and enjoys incorporating tidbits of her actual vacations into her books. She's an avid Anglophile, loving all things British, but specifically all things Regency. Growing up in Tennessee, spending as much time as possible with her doting grandparents, soap operas were a part of her daily existence, followed by back-to-back episodes of Scooby-Doo. Her path to becoming a romance novelist was set when, rather than simply have her Barbies cruise around in a pink convertible, they time traveled, hosted lavish dinner parties, and one even had an evil twin locked in the attic. I love that. I do. I absolutely love that.
So I spent a lot of time with my grandparents, and my grandmother was someone who watched Young and the Restless religiously. Like she never missed a day with Victor and Nikki. So I will say that probably has influenced the way I write quite a bit.
Yes. I wrote, I didn't, my mother was not into soap operas. My dad was, though. He was a third shifter and he would come home and sleep for a few hours. I remember General Hospital. Oh, my stars. He kept me out of, he came and got me when Luke and Laura got married. He came and got me out of school early so we could watch it together.
No, that would never have flown in our house. But
Yeah.
well, and it didn't have to because they showed it twice a day.
Oh,
So
okay.
we could always catch up. But yeah, no, there was a lot of drama, a lot of angst. So,
Yes.
and that's what I write now. Lots of drama, lots of angst.
Jennifer asked what part of Kentucky you live in. Her sister lives right outside of Louisville. You don't even have to tell
So
me if you aren't comfortable.
no, I mean, I don't care. I live in Berea, which is in central Kentucky. It's about an hour, hour and a half east of Louisville. I'm directly south of Lexington by about half an hour.
Okay. And it's beautiful down there. It is absolutely beautiful there. Kevin and I drove by Berea once.
Well, that's easy to do because it's a very small town. It does not take long.
Oh. Angie says she lived in Bowling Green from 03 to 17.
Yeah, I've got a lot of good friends who live out in Bowling Green, and she's an author also, and we try to meet up and do business lunches where we do actually talk business and we do actually get things accomplished, and then we just gossip. But we try to meet somewhere in the middle because people don't realize this. You can drive for a really long time if you're going across the state of Kentucky. North to south
Yes.
is a short trip, but east to west, it takes a significant length of time.
I don't mean to put you on the spot, but I am out of tissues. I'm going to shut off my camera for a second and you just talk.
Okay.
I'm
so
sorry, honey.
one of the things that Susan had asked me to talk about tonight was how reader expectation can determine a lot of consumer behavior. Are
Yes.
most of you all authors? Is that kind of what we're talking to, or is it a mix of authors, readers?
I think it's mostly authors with a couple of readers.
Okay, so the biggest thing that you have to know with whatever genre you're writing, whether it's Regency, whether it's romantic suspense, you have to know what reader expectation is.
Mm-hmm.
And you only develop that by reading in your genre. You have to know the genre as a reader, I think, before you can write it. And so that's kind of what I did. I was reading Julia Quinn and Joanna Lindsay and all these Regency romance authors long before I ever sat down and wrote my first book. So going into it, I had an idea of what the payoff was supposed to be, how
Mm-hmm.
the people were supposed to interact with one another, what the social settings looked like, what the manner of dress looked like at that particular time. So I felt like from reader expectation, I had a pretty good idea of how to meet that.
Mm-hmm.
But there are a lot of people out there who do not understand what the romance genre is.
Mm-hmm.
Like there are people who call Nicholas Sparks romance. No, he writes really sad books that have a little bit of romance in them. But there's never a happy ending. There's no payoff.
No.
It's just you cry at the end and you're done.
Yes.
So that is not a romance novel, but there are people out there who will term it that and try
Mm-hmm.
to lump us in with him. And people who write true traditional romance novels will never leave you crying at the end of the book unless it's happy tears.
That's true. I did it
And
once.
I have written other genres besides historical romance. I used to write erotic romance. I've written contemporary romance. I've written gothic romance. Um, I've written just straight up shifter romance. I've run the gamut really, and I can tell you that's probably not a wise approach to take to your career as a writer if you actually want to make money.
Yes, because your readers expect your diehard readers, those who will follow you anywhere, they want that certain genre. And I think it's sometimes hard, hi Michaela, to break out into other genres that perhaps aren't romance.
It has to be it has to be a leap that makes sense for them. Like if you write Regency romance and you are just done writing Regency romance, you don't want to write any more balls and debuts and you're just done with it. So how do you get your Regency readers invested to follow you to say if you want to write, I don't know, a medieval Scottish romance?
Mm-hmm.
Well, then you have to find some way to connect that to the Regency world that you've created. You can
Mm-hmm.
do an ancestor, you can do something that
Yes.
will is an additional lure to bring people with you on that journey besides just, oh, she's a good author and I like her stuff, but this is not what I read.
Mm-hmm.
You have to give them a reason to follow you.
Yes. And I like taking the path of the ancestors. I think that is a great idea.
Yeah,
But how do you forward it to more contemporary though?
well, I mean, it would be the same thing. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you could do a descendant. You could do something in the modern contemporary world where somebody inherits this house and they start discovering the history of this family that they're connected to in this way. And
Mm-hmm.
then that way, you're bringing those books forward and you're still keeping your Regency readers or whatever invested in
Mm-hmm.
this family. I
Yes.
The blueprint for this is really Joanna Lindsay with the Mallory family, and then also Jude
Mm-hmm.
Devereux with the Montgomerys. They were doing this for years and years and years.
Mm-hmm.
Julia Quinn did it. because she wrote her entire Bridgerton series, and then she went back and wrote the story of Violet, the mother. So there's definitely an established precedent for going backwards or going forward.
I agree.
With a connection to an established series.
I agree.
Exactly like Yellowstone and Taylor Sheridan. He's been brilliant with that.
Oh, he is brilliant. Oh, Yellowstone. Oh, my stars. Don't even get me started. We'll be here all night. So what do you think the reader expectations are for Regency Romance? And maybe let's do a compare and contrast. Like Regency readers expect this, and then medieval readers expect this, and colonial readers expect this. The compare and contrast.
So it's really social elements that I think are the big difference, because at the core of it, you have the love story between two people, and how that's framed is where the differences are. So you have Regency, where everybody's looking at the parties and the dresses and this sort of social season and the marriage mart and the whole thing, with all the norms and the mores and the scandal and the gossip, and those are all elements to Regency that people really connect to because it's so familiar to them. If you're doing like a medieval or Scottish romance, you expect battles, you expect people to fight, you expect something to happen where there has to be some heroic rescue and swords and guns and kilts. And so there are things that people want to have present that are defining to that subgenre of romance.
I agree 1000%.
So
keep talking. I'm just listening.
Well,
do you all see now why I love Chasity so much? She and I can get on the phone, and I'm telling you what, we could talk this stuff all day long because she's just friggin' brilliant. And she points out the obvious to me. Of course, you know, ADD. So I don't always see the obvious, right? I don't always, for me, the writing is more intuitive. I don't study it.
Well, okay, so
yes.
I started out doing social work. That was my day job. I was a social worker and also mental health counselor at times. And I really didn't enjoy doing that. I didn't love it. I thought I would. I did not have the clinical objectivity to maintain my own sanity while doing those jobs. So I knew that I needed to find some other way to support myself. And it just so happened that through the course of that is when I published my first book. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm putting myself on a 5-year plan.
Okay.
And I knew if I was going to make that 5-year mark and make this a career, then I had to understand not just how the writing part of it worked, but also how the business part of it worked. And a big part of that is understanding consumer behavior and consumer expectation. You have to know what your readers are looking for. You have to know what they want. And then you have to understand what your own abilities and limitations are in giving it to them. So,
and see, this is another reason I love coming to you. I will say, hey, can I bounce an idea off of you? And then you always come back with, okay, how will this benefit you? You ask me that. Okay, what is your end goal and how will this benefit you? And it's like you make me think outside of my own sometimes really scrambled, crazy brain. And I really appreciate that. I just wanted to tell you that.
well, thank you.
So what made you write that very first book? What was it that made you do it and made you publish it?
So there are a couple of different reasons why it happened when it did. One was that I had swine flu and I was quarantined and stuck in my house, and I ran out of things to read, and I didn't have a Kindle then because this was like 2010, I think. And
Yeah.
I had been resistant to the idea of the Kindle. I wanted my books in paper form. I wanted something to physically
Mm-hmm.
hold and turn pages with. So that was what prompted it. It was really boredom. I'd been writing forever, but it was always just a snippet here or a chapter there. It was never
Mm-hmm.
writing with purpose. It was always just sort of as a way to amuse myself. So I started, and by the time I was ready to go back to work, I had like 30,000 words of a novel done. And I was like, okay. Oh, you never feel
What?
as like a success as an author. That's just not a thing.
No.
You have brief moments of, oh, this is great. I feel validated, and then it's like, okay, on to the next.
Mm-hmm.
So the other thing that prompted me when I did that was that I heard an interview that they did on a local radio station that they were talking to a 14-year-old girl who'd gotten a publishing contract. And I was just offended to the depths of my soul. Like, what does this child have to say that is so brilliant that she's getting a publishing contract? And here I sit with all this life experience. And so I was like, it was time to just do it or quit whining about it. So I did it. Let's see. Let me
And
look
how
at
much success did you have with that first book?
I had none. I had zero
Okay.
success. I had
And what genre was it?
It was a Regency romance. It's The Haunting of a Duke, which is still available today.
Okay.
I went the traditional route with a very small press to start with.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know then what I didn't know. I had no
Mm-hmm.
clue. It was just, it was the Wild West in those days.
It was just crazy. Nobody knew what the hell they were doing.
No.
We all had to figure it out though.
So I signed a contract with this very small publishing company whose name I don't want to say because I don't have favorable things to say about them. And my book just languished. It did nothing. It did absolutely nothing. They didn't advertise it. They didn't do anything with it. And I think for the 2 years that they had it, because they did 2-year contracts then, most of them don't do that now. It's at least 5. In those 2 years, I think I made $600.
Oh gosh.
And I had signed this contract without fully understanding what right of first refusal meant. So I knew that after researching that
Mm-hmm.
I could not finish this series because they had the right to ask for any subsequent characters that were connected to that book. And I didn't want to give them anything else. So I switched gears because I had gone to RWA, and I had found out that you could actually make quite a bit of money writing erotica. And I had no. So I started writing erotica and erotic romance in contemporary or paranormal settings. And that's what I did until that contract expired and I got the rights back to that book. And when I got the rights back to it, I republished it and I made more money in the first month of having it self-published than I did the entire 2 years they had it.
Yes.
So, and that was when I decided I didn't want to be. I vowed I would never be a traditionally published author ever again. I have since broken that promise, and that's okay. I mean,
but Catherine takes care of you, and she's a good
she does.
publisher. And
Dragonblade Publishing has been incredibly good to me. I cannot complain. They do great work marketing our books. They do really good opportunities for us as authors. And there's a lot of transparency there in how things are done. And that means a lot to me. If you've been an indie for a while, that transparency is important to you because you don't want people making decisions for you if you don't understand why they're happening or what the cost benefit of those is.
Yes.
So, yeah, it's just, I think that you almost have to be, unless you are someone who is wildly successful, I think you almost have to be a hybrid published author now, where you have indie books and where you have books with a publishing company, just because that gets you in front of different audiences. Your publisher should bring with them an audience. They should bring a readership to you, just as you
Yes.
bring a readership to them. And that's really how you grow. That's how you build your brand as an author, and how you extend the circle of your readership so that each subsequent book becomes more successful.
Exactly. I agree.
So.
Almost 100%. There would have to be a huge, what's that check they give you up front? Traditional houses. The advance have to have a lot of zeros on it before I would sign with the traditional publishing house.
Do you know, I'm going to be honest with you. I would probably never sign with like the big five. My hair is sticking up.
Never.
Sorry.
That's okay. You're gorgeous.
But
you are.
I don't feel it right now. I just feel like I probably have pancake syrup all over me because that's what Nathaniel had for dinner. So.
So I don't know how anybody writes with kids in the house under like the age of 40.
Well,
to me, it's like putting pantyhose on over wet blue jeans. So I admire anybody who can do this.
I do it while he's at daycare, or I do it while he's asleep. Those are my windows. And then on the weekends, because my husband will help me with him a lot so that I can get stuff done. But I don't even remember what I was saying now. You gotta help me. I just drew a blank.
We were talking about traditional publishing.
Oh, yeah. I would not go with the big five. And the reason I would not go with them is because with a smaller press, you're not just a cog in the wheel. You actually have a voice still with smaller publishing companies, where
if you choose the right
one. And you have to really do your homework about that. You have to be extra careful. I was really lucky with Dragonblade when they signed me, because I mean, like, I'm kind of the OG there. I was, I think, the fourth or fifth author they signed. Thank you, Jennifer. So I've been with them since 2017 now, I think. I've written one series to completion, which was the Lost Lord series. And then based on the original contract, I've completed the Hellion Club series now, but we've expanded it to another 7 books. So right now there are 7 full-length novels in that series and 4 novellas. So it just keeps growing. It just keeps getting bigger.
But your readers love it, right?
They do. I've been really lucky with how well that particular series has been received. People have been very gracious, because it has taken me a long time to get this far in it, because, life gets in the way.
It does.
And COVID and strokes and all kinds of insanity. So, yeah, people have been incredibly patient in waiting for these books, and I am incredibly grateful for that.
Brent says he's chiming in as traditionally published. Marketing is everything, and people, self-included, don't realize that going in. A publisher has boilerplate, but you have to take the lead in brand building.
Oh, absolutely. You do have to build your own brand. And for that to happen, you have to, understand what your brand is, because I think a lot of people don't. And you have to, I always tell people that if you want to be a successful author, depending on how you define success, and for me, success as an author meant I didn't have to have an additional job to support myself, that I could do it just with this. That was my level of success that I wanted to achieve. You have to be willing to not just commit yourself to the creative part of it. You also have to be willing to commit yourself to the business part of it. Because if you don't, then when the market shifts, and it always does, you're going to be behind the 8 ball on everything.
And that I know is where I struggled in the very beginning of my career, because I was so ignorant. I didn't know anything. All I knew was I was making a shit ton of money. That was all I knew. And I kept saying, "Oh, it's all about the writing. It's all about the writing. I don't have to do anything else because I'm making gobs of money, right?" And then I went to a a conference that shall not be mentioned
Oh,
publicly.
I know exactly which one it is. You don't have to
Yes,
mention it.
but Liliana Hart was there, and she did a workshop, and she just put it into words that made sense to me, which is so rare anymore. Um, that yes, it has to be about good writing, but you also have to take a business mindset to it if you want to maintain your success. And I know Chastity gets so frustrated with me sometimes. She'll say, "That just breaks my heart to hear you say that." I remember you
Well,
telling me that.
because I mean, like, the thing about it is if you love your writing, if you love
Hmm.
what you write, if you love
Hmm.
that exchange with readers and you want your book
Yes.
in their hands, then taking control of the business side of it is vital to that.
Yes.
Because that's how you find readers. That's how you get readers,
Uh-huh.
is by knowing where to advertise, knowing how to advertise, knowing what kind of covers people are responding to and what's
Hmm.
resonating with readers at any given time. I mean, there's
And that too changes. Covers do
yes, it
change with the
absolutely
readers. Hmm.
and
But go
you
ahead.
have
I
to be
interrupted.
willing to do that. You have to be willing to change
Hmm.
your covers from time to time because if you're not, then you're going to look dated. People are
Exactly.
going to
If you're
assume
not,
that this is not a book that
exactly.
they want to read right now.
I agree. I do. I agree wholeheartedly. You have to be willing to change and set your raft in such a position that it takes you upstream and that you're not fighting trying
Yeah,
to take it downstream or back over the rapids, because this river of writing is all about rapids,
it is
right?
definitely
And
it is,
rocks
there
and
are a lot of ups and
waterfalls, and
downs.
there are a lot of ups and downs.
How do I divvy up my time between the writing, branding, and business aspects? Do you have a formula? I don't have a formula. Um, I'm very solution focused. I guess that comes from the counseling. And
Hmm.
then I look at what basically a triage approach of what is the most vital to get done today? What has to happen
Hmm.
today? What has to happen this week, this month? And then you figure out essentially where you have to prioritize your time. And it changes. It will change. Like some months you have to be like, all right, I have a deadline. I've got to let the advertising go a little bit because that's time that I need to spend writing
Hmm.
so that I can make this deadline and not lose these pre-orders. Um, so again, you have to it takes a level of self-awareness and it takes a willingness to shift things around and be flexible in how you work.
Hmm.
And that's the only real formula I can tell you is just be flexible, be adaptable,
My
and change with what's
Mhm.
asked of you.
Yes. And I think my biggest problem, I have so many. God, there's a long list that just continues to grow on a daily basis. Um, I think my biggest hurdle right now is I have all the time in the world to do everything or anything that I want, right?
Mhm.
When you have all day to get something done, it doesn't
You
get
don't do
done.
it. There is a motivating factor to pressure that we don't always appreciate it until we don't have it.
Hmm.
Um, and I get that, I do.
Hmm.
Honestly, I'm probably more productive after having Nathaniel and bringing him
Hmm.
home and because I know that I have limited time to write. So I have to
Yes.
make it happen around his needs. Um, And that helps, believe it or not. Like, I don't understand how,
Oh,
but it does.
when I had a day job, man, the word count was just fabulous. In the first few years after giving up the day job, the daily word counts 5, 10, 15,000 words in a day. Man, that was nothing. And I don't know if it's age, hormones, the meds or whatever, but it's really hard to hit those previous targets, those
Well,
previous word counts.
and there is such a thing as professional burnout. And I don't
Mhm.
care what your job is. I don't care if you're working at McDonald's, you can be burnout. You
Mhm.
can any job, if you do it for so long, no matter how much you loved it to start, and no matter how much you feel driven to do it,
Mhm.
there are points in time where you still need a reset because you
Mhm.
just don't have anything left to put into it. Um, and that's why self-care is really important. And I know that
Oh,
sounds
it
like
is
such a,
cliche
but I mean,
these days,
it's
but it's
vital.
not.
You have to be willing to step back from it from time to time and just say, I need a day for myself. I need to spend a day with my husband. I need to spend a day with my kid. I need
Mhm.
to do something that has nothing to do with this. And sometimes it's, I need to write something that isn't Regency. Um,
Yes.
I will freely tell you that there are plenty of times where I'm sitting there writing a book and I'm just so frustrated because all I want is for people to have zippers and cell phones because it would be so much easier. But so sometimes you have to have a little side passion project in a genre outside of
Mhm.
what you would normally write in. And how much time you devote to that depends on what your goals are with it. Do you want to publish
Mhm.
it? Is it just a palate cleanser for you? Is it a way for you to refresh yourself? What's your goal for that? And that kind of determines how much time you put into that passion project because you have to make sure
Mhm.
that you're not letting it pull you away from the thing that pays your bills.
Exactly. Exactly. And there are so many days where, and I don't know what I don't. This is turning into a counseling session, isn't it? I'm so sorry. God.
Well,
See,
I do have the training. I don't have the
I know
license.
you do
I
have.
have
I
the
know you do
training.
have. We should probably, yeah, I'll talk to you about this later, but we should I'm so sorry. Help me, Chastity, help me. Let's see. There are a lot of questions or comments. Someone says they cannot imagine you writing erotica.
I did dragon shifters in New Orleans. I can't.
I love it. Um, Ari
That's how
Laurel
I bought my
asks,
first
oh,
new appliances. That is,
yes.
I swear to
Hey.
the first 4-digit royalty check I ever got was from writing those filthy little books, and I'm okay with that.
Oh, I love it. Ari Laurel asks, which do you prefer to write, novels or novellas?
Um, I actually like them both, and the reason that I like them both is because novels tend to be very intense. When you're writing a
Mhm.
full-length novel, there's a lot of angst, there's a lot of drama, there's a lot of really intense plotting. When you're writing a novella, the pace is different,
Mhm.
so the story tends to move more quickly, and you're not quite as mired in all the details.
Mhm.
You can still tell a good story and tell it fast,
Yes.
and so it fills a different need. You
Mhm.
have a different kind of emotional response to what you're writing when you're writing at the pace of a novella versus writing at the pace of a novel.
And how long are your novels usually, word count wise?
My novels tend to be between 70 and 80K because that's a sweet spot for Regency.
Yes, and then I
Um,
decided to write, Scottish historical romance, and they want,
could be
three
right.
hundred million freaking words in a
You
book.
could have done high fantasy, and that's literally, you know, 7,000 pages at the end of the day. But so yeah, my novels tend to be usually 75. That's kind of my
Yeah.
sweet spot, because I always aim for 70, and then it takes more to wrap
Yes.
everything up. And then my novellas, they tend to be between 30 and 40,000 words. So it's good. And also, the benefit to writing novels and novellas is that it allows you to keep your release schedule up. It allows you to hit
Yes.
those algorithms at Amazon with those pretty much constant new releases that way. And that does make a huge difference in your earnings.
I agree. I just, I remember the first time someone asked me to do an anthology with them, and I'm like, "Oh, I'm excited, yay." And then they said, "Okay, so the maximum word count is 25,000 words." And I'm like, "My friggin' prologues are 25,000 words. How do you expect me to write a complete novel with only 25,000 words?" It just blew my mind. But I like that thought process of the novellas, of, yeah,
Yeah.
that
Somebody
helping your
asked
algorithms.
about the marketability of novellas. I think it's really hard to write a novella that is a standalone. It has to be something that is tied into an existing series, um, in order for you to be able to make that work for you financially. That's just
Jennifer's reminding me that we did a book out of our box. They were kind of cocky books.
oh,
That was when I got my Pinky Haversnatch pen name. I still to this day love that pen name, Pinky Haversnatch. You know, if there's a new Pinky Haversnatch book coming out, Susan's pissed about something in the publishing world. That's all I'm going to say is Susan is pissed. And this is how, she can kind of go on a rant. And hi, Jennifer. I'm so glad you're here today, honey. I am. Holly's reading a dark high fantasy now that has nearly 500,000 words.
like that's my word count goal for the year. That's what I want to write in a year, which is about 6 books.
Yes, exactly. 500,000 for me would be 3.
Well, and that's the thing.
It
And
was Dirty Diana. Yeah.
The frequency with which you publish is a big determination of your earnings right now, because there's a lot of churn in this market, and the rapid release model, whether you like it or not, that's what people want right now. We live in a society that exists on binging. We binge watch every show. We don't want to watch a show that we can't binge the whole thing at one time. People don't have the patience to wait 2 years for the next in a series. I mean, they will if they absolutely have to and if they love it, but that's not their preference.
No, I agree. I guess I never thought about doing the novellas rapidly. That was the one thing that kept me surviving the last 3 years were the novellas.
Yeah.
And then a couple of semi-big books.
My goal is to have a release at least every 6 to 8 weeks.
That's a good idea. Linda said Pinky might be putting out a book about getting lost in Yellowstone and Grand Teton National Parks.
That is a whole hot mess that I can't even talk about.
I'm not even going to. I'm not. I refuse. I have no idea what's going on in that, and I'm not talking about it anymore.
No.
Because
well, I mean,
I have my reasons.
It's not my business. I'm happy she's safe, and I'm done.
Yes.
Let's go.
That's it.
Moving on.
Let's move on. But God blank, damn it, Linda, that was funny. Someone asked, reading a book and then having to wait a year for the sequel. You all are just instant gratification, damn it.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's what the internet has done for us. We have, if you want to hear a particular song, you don't have to wait for somebody to play it for you at the radio station. You just go on YouTube or Spotify or Apple Music or anywhere else, and it's there. Same way with movies. You don't even have to go to the theater anymore. Most of them are released theatrically and on streaming services at the same time.
Yes.
So you can sit at home in your PJs and watch a brand new movie.
Yes.
So you
And
know,
make your own popcorn that isn't $25 a bucket.
yeah. So I don't know why anybody would ever think that the publishing world isn't affected by that, because all of the entertainment industries have this weird synchronicity in how they function and in how people want to obtain that product that they're creating, whether it's music, movies, TV shows, or books. So we have to not just look at what's happening in the publishing world, we have to look at what's happening in the entertainment world at large.
Yes. Please don't tell me I have to look at the real world, because I can't right now. I tell you what, I cannot watch the news. I can't hear the news. I don't, from 4 on, that's what Kevin's got on is the evening. And I can't, because I just want to throw something through the damn TV, because I'm tired of the fighting and the negativity and all that. I just can't go there right now. So please don't tell me I have to pay attention to the real world. It's too depressing. I like hiding out in 14th century Scotland. It's safe there.
Well, I like hiding out in Regency England most of the time. So
there you go.
So my Regency England is not always a happy place. I mean, we have prostitution and human trafficking, and it is definitely not Georgette Hare, if you heard me go off on that rant the other day. I write the grittier side of the Regency.
Exactly. And I write gritty, but that's okay, because in my mind, it's still safer than the real world. Just got off cable and I haven't seen the news in over a year. Good for you, Amy. We do. Well, safety in 14th century Scotland. Okay. The plagues only happen when necessary. It's my own little world where I'm happy. So, Kevin came in and told me something tonight. Oh, it was 62 today, right? And I'm so eager for this spring-like weather. And he releases a 4-letter filthy word. Snow. And I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, it's supposed to snow tomorrow night. I'm like, why do you like pissing on my parade? Why do you like coming in here and just snow? I know, but it needs to be all rainbows and sunshines and bunnies, and that's where I need to be right now.
I want to jump in here because Brent had asked a question.
Okay.
Quantity versus quality, and thoughts on how market trend and demand for binge-worthy impacts quality of content. I'm not going to lie, and it can. It doesn't always have to, though. This is the point where you have to do a lot of reflection and a lot of soul searching, and you have to determine whether or not rapid release is a model that you can work with. And if it's not, then you have to decide if you're going to do bankable books, if you're going to take a series, write the first 2 or 3 in that series, and then publish them while the third one is being worked on. Because that is one way that people do this. And you can do that because it increases your earnings so substantially to rapid release that you wind up making more if you save up those books and release them all in a fairly short time span than you would if you peter it out and release one here, one next year, one 18 months down the road.
Exactly.
It's to your benefit to rapid release, but whether you're doing rapid production, that's what you have control over. So yeah, I can write a book in a month. Some people can, some people can't, and it just depends
on what your circumstances are.
What your circumstances are, what your style is.
What your genre is.
What your level of experience is, because this is one of those things, it's like anything else. The more you do it, the better and the faster you get at it.
Exactly,
So,
exactly. And it's not just that that affects your algorithms at Amazon, that affects your algorithms at all the vendors,
well, yeah,
but mostly at Amazon.
it's huge at Amazon because of the data mining that they do with
Yes.
all of their customers' purchase history and what that tells them about and anticipating who will buy this product based on what else they've bought.
Mhm.
Um, but what it helps, but all of the vendors give preference of visibility to new releases. That's
Mhm.
just it's to their benefit to do that because people are looking for stuff that's new.
Exactly.
Um, so you don't have the same degree of finely targeted
Mhm.
advertising like Amazon does for you because you all get those emails that say, "Hey, so and so has a new book today." Well,
Mhm.
you're getting that because you either follow that person or because you follow a bunch of other authors that people who follow that author follow. And I know that's a lot of
Yes.
the F word there, but that determines what Amazon sends you in terms of
Mhm.
recommendations. And that's why don't ever, if you were a newbie author out there and you're getting ready to publish your book, do not let your friends and family go to Amazon and buy your book because they will tank your algorithms. Because if your Uncle Bob, who only reads World War II fiction, is buying your Regency Romance, there is nobody else in his history that he interconnects with that is going to be beneficial to you. So
Uh-huh.
there's nobody from Uncle Bob's purchase for you to be recommended to. And if you have
Exactly.
multiple purchases like that, it just scatters all the data into this unreadable
Mhm.
mess that cannot be honed down to where it's effective for you.
That is brilliant as always. I know you and I have talked about this before, but I don't always remember everything that you say. Does everybody think that Chastity should just have her own YouTube channel to talk about all this stuff? I do.
Chastity has a
Um,
Tumblr, so the fact that I have on makeup today is a miracle.
so like,
And
I'm just kidding. It's okay. Um, Somebody's under tornado watch. I think a couple people are. But what if Uncle Bob wants to read it because it's written by someone he cares deeply about?
then you
Give
buy some
him
author copies and give him one, or let
give
him
him a
buy a
signed.
paperback from you.
Yes.
Do not.
Just
Or if he
just
wants
gift
to
it.
read it, yeah, and he can read it in other on other platforms. If he wants to get it from Apple, he can get it from Apple
Yeah.
if you're a wide released author. If not, just give it to him because it's going to cost you way less to give him that book than
Mhm.
lost marketing and sales opportunities from letting him buy it himself and skewing the
Yeah.
algorithm.
Yeah. Just give the book away. Just give the book away in that circumstance. I agree. I agree fully.
So
What other questions do we have for you? Chessie has her hands full. Yes, she does.
you have no idea.
Yeah, I do. I was
So I was in the car yesterday morning and I was messaging with my friend Laramie. And I can't remember what I said, but at the end of it, I was just like, oh, Jesus. So from the back seat, I hear, oh, Jesus. And then it was chanted over and over and over again until we got to daycare. And I'm like, I'm going to have to lie to these people and tell them we go to church a lot.
Yes. He's praying. That's all it is. He's just praying. It could have been a lot worse, Chastity. It could have been so
Well, and
much worse.
it has been. It has been. I, oh, Jesus is pretty mild for me to say because I have a
He
potty
is cute.
mouth.
He is cute. Well,
Let's
what
see.
other advice? Oh, what's coming next for Chastity? You just had a new release this week.
I did the Governess Diaries, which was the seventh book in the seventh full length book in the Hellion Club series that
Hmm.
people had been waiting on for since I released the first book in the Hellion Club series in
Isn't that funny?
2019, has finally been released. It's done
Ooh,
really well.
You have 277 releases or reviews on this new release, and you just released it a few days ago, right?
The 21st.
I'm so jealous. That is
So
awesome. I'm going to
it
put your...
stayed at number 1 in Tudor Romance. This is the longest time I've had an orange flag consecutively, because
Isn't
once I
that
got
nice?
it did not
Mhm.
drop until today. And oddly enough, Catherine took it from me, which I find hilarious.
Yeah. Damn
So
it,
if you
Catherine.
have to be knocked off the top spot, let it be by your publisher.
Amy, that's a show for that's a question for a whole entirely different show. You just upload them yourself when you self-publish. You get an account at all the different vendors, and that would be Amazon, Apple, Kobo, Nook. Those are the top 4.
Well, or you can go through an aggregator like Draft to Digital, and
Yes.
they will publish to, you can use them to publish to Kobo, Apple, Google Play. Do they still
Yes.
do Google Play?
I don't know.
Hi, Laurel. I miss you.
Hi. You can always come back and watch it. It's recorded, Laurel.
So, but yeah, look at Draft to Digital. If you are intimidated by the idea of creating all those different accounts and learning all those different processes, because there is a learning curve to how you upload and format your book for each different place. So,
Yes.
Draft to Digital is a good option for that. They will put your book at Barnes and Noble, at Kobo, at Apple. I think Google Play. I'm not 100% sure about that, but they will also get it into like Hoopla and all the
Libraries.
different library reading apps.
Yes.
They will get it on subscription services like Scribd and Trulio and all these reading apps that are more popular in other countries than they are here.
Yes.
So it's a good distribution tool.
I agree. And they don't take what's the split on that? Is it the same, like 70-35? I think it's very reasonable.
It like, because you're the vendor is obviously still keeping the bulk of it. And
Yes.
then I feel like the percentage that Draft to Digital takes is minimal.
Minimal. Because you have to look at it this way. Yes, they do take a percentage of your royalties. They take a huge chunk. But look at it this way, okay? Especially if you don't have a Mac laptop, okay? This gets you into vendors that you can't get into otherwise, okay? Draft to Digital, just like Chasity just said, it's going to get you into libraries, Trulio, Scribd, all these other really fabulous places. And you can use it specifically for those vendors that you can't or don't want to upload to yourself. So you can use both. There's no exclusivity with Draft to Digital.
Somebody asked if I have a single space between paragraphs and lines or just keep. That needs to be a formatting decision.
Yes.
How you write in your Word document or Scrivener or whatever you use, that's entirely up to you. But when you format, I use Vellum for all of my self-published books, and I format everything on my own. And that way everything's nice and uniform and pretty, and I don't have to think too hard about it. And everything's done exactly the way each vendor likes it, because it creates individualized files for each one.
Yes.
Let's see. Somebody asked about writing program. I work on a Mac. I use Pages, which is like their version of Word. I don't like, I know a lot of people use programs where they organize their thoughts and do all that, but I am a linear writer. I start on page 1 of a book and I just go until I hit the end. And I don't have a whole lot of notes or anything. Most of it's in my head, which is terrifying. And yeah, so
what you're seeing is that every author is different. They have their own preferences, their own thoughts, their own, and that's why I love this.
There is no one right way. There's the right way
There,
for you. That's
exactly. If you like using Word and doing double spacing, nobody cares. Nobody cares. Okay, if you like to use 1.5 or single, or just don't put 2 spaces between the period at the end of the period. That's old. Nobody does that anymore.
I don't know that there is a Windows version of Vellum, but there is a way to have a virtual Mac
Yes.
where you can basically take your Windows computer and you can make it function like a Mac, and then you can, I want to say it's like a virtual Mac desktop,
Mm-hmm.
and you can have Vellum on that, I
Yes.
believe.
Angie asks, when you're putting together a book, how do you keep track of your chapters? Do you separate them or keep them in the same file? Well, it's
No,
the
I
same
keep
file.
everything in the same file.
You
Because
just, when
if
you start a new chapter, it's chapter 5.
you go up to your insert tab across the top, you insert page break and start a new chapter. That's it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's
Um,
really easy.
so yeah, that's
Atticus for Windows, yeah. You have to use the VM software, Virtual Mac software.
yeah.
Okay. All right.
Mm.
Okay, I'm just reading back. I want to make sure that I don't miss anything, but Lord knows I will, because it's me. Everybody knows I write in Scrivener, love Scrivener, but it's not for everybody. It really isn't. So, and that's okay. That's okay. It is after 7:30. We've been here for an hour. Do you want to answer more questions if anybody has them?
I'm fine with that. If anybody's
Okay.
got questions, ask
This
away.
is okay. This is the last round. Last call. Last call for questions. Last call. If you have any questions, just put them in the chat. And don't forget to hit that like button. Don't forget to go visit Chasity at her Facebook page. The link's in the description. Don't forget to follow her at Amazon, because she really is a fabulous. I'm serious. Chasity is one hell of a great storyteller. She's usually my go-to for helping me write my blurbs. And I know it aggravates the hell out of her. Chasity, it's that time of the season again where you have to help me write a blurb.
Well, thank you all. Thank you for being here and for being so active and asking questions and making comments, because
Oh,
there's
yeah.
nothing worse than doing one of those and just like crickets. Just crickets.
Exactly. Bobby says margarita on the rocks, no salt. That's her last call.
What are your upcoming books? Well, right now I'm working on the 8th book in the Hellion Club series, which is about the Hound of Whitehall, who is this sort of shady underworld character that I just love him so much. And then simultaneously, I am working on the 2nd book in my Wild Wallflower series called A Kiss Gone Wild.
A Kiss Gone Wild?
Mm-hmm.
I like that. Laura says she's been one of my favorite authors for years now.
I love you, Laurel.
Love chatting. Thanks for taking the time to answer questions. Well, it's important. That's why we're here, right? We're here to be motivational, educational, inspirational, usually funny, because, me and my squirrels and my sparkly things. You're welcome back all the time. We meet here every Wednesday. Yes, we do. Every Wednesday night we meet here. Chastity, I just want to thank you so much for being here tonight.
You're welcome.
You are
Thank
just,
you.
I love you so much. And I'm so glad you're my friend. I really am. You're just freaking awesome. And I just need you to know that. So everybody, yeah, all the Asianals, yes. Everybody needs to go follow Chasity at Amazon, so you'll be notified when she has a new release. But seriously, just pick any of her books, really, and start there, because she just really is. I don't blow sunshine up people's skirts, do I, Chasity?
No, neither one of us do.
No. So, but she really is a very talented, phenomenal storyteller, and you are one of the best writers that I know. And you guys are just gonna love her work. Hubby knows not to talk to me when you're on. Oh, that that just makes me feel good. I'm talking with Susan now. Leave me alone. You're welcome. Everybody's very welcome. I hope whoever's under the tornado watch, I hope you're all okay. I hope it goes away and doesn't come my way because I'm just not in the mood. I'm just not in the mood to go hide out in the basement for 2 hours while we have thunderstorms. I don't like doing that. So anyway, Chasity, I will have you on again. I love you. You have a great week, and everybody here too. Thank you for being here. And again, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, share. And for those on the replay crew, don't forget to leave a comment. And I do read all the comments. So anyway, we will see you all next Wednesday. I don't know because of the new meds if I will be here Friday night. But I will definitely see you next Wednesday. Okay. Thanks, everybody. Thank you, Chasity.
Thank
I
you
just
all.
adore you. Everybody have a great week. And may the muse sing to you sweetly, ladies and gentlemen.